How long has the earth been in existence? The answer to that is 6,000 years. Now, science would mock that, and they would say the earth has been here much longer than that. And they would claim to have proven that. But you need to think carefully. Is there anyone alive who was there at the time that can testify to that? And the answer is yes, and his name is God. And he says it's 6,000 years old. None of us today were there to witness how these things played out. So when people say it had to have been older, they're giving you their opinion. It's not something that they can prove. Now look with me at Genesis chapter 5. Genesis chapter 5. In Genesis 5, you're going to see a genealogy. Look with me at Genesis 5, verse 3. And Adam lived 130 years and begat a son in his own likeness after his image, and called his name Seth. So you know from Genesis 5:3 that Adam lived 130 years before he had a son. Verse 6, and Seth lived 105 years and begat Enos. So now you know how long it was from Seth's birth till he had Enos. Verse 9, and Enos lived 90 years and begat Canaan. And so what happens is you can take the chronology in Genesis 5 and you can trace it from Adam all the way down to Noah in that passage. But then you can do similar things throughout the Old Testament. And the bottom line, I'm not going to go through all of it, but the bottom line is if you follow through that process, you end up with the earth being roughly 6,000 years old. Now, what some people will say, you're in Genesis, get Genesis 1. Genesis 1. And look with me at verse 1. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. Verse 2, and the earth was without form and deep. Now, there's differences of opinion on what I'm about to say, and so this is a subject you're going to need to study for yourself. What many will do is they will say between verse 1 and verse 2, there was a gap, and that's what people call the gap theory. And in between Genesis 1:1 and 1:2, that's where Satan rebelled. And there was warfare in heaven, and there were a whole bunch of events that took place between Genesis 1:1 and Genesis 1:2. Now, I don't personally happen to believe the gap theory. There are other people that do, and that's fine. Let every man be fully persuaded in his own mind. The reason I don't, look with me at Genesis 1, verse 31. And God saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good, and the evening and the morning were the sixth day. Well, if the gap theory is true, then before verse 2, Satan rebelled in heaven. He led an angelic rebellion. There was warfare. And I just don't see how it's possible in verse 31 for God then to saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. It wouldn't have been very good. So my point being, I think Genesis 1 teaches 6 literal days, and that the earth, therefore, is roughly 6,000 years old. If you want more information on the gap theory, we have a teaching on the website called The Gap Theory Refuted, and we would commend that for your study.